Yo, what's going on? It took you a minute.
Right. Clearly should have had a practice run.
Clearly, but
That's
it's
all
all
right.
good.
That's all right. What you drinking?
Some shit I can't pronounce.
You fancy.
Well,
Y'all got money.
shit, we wish.
I'm just drinking some rum and lemonade. That's
This is all this money we saving from this quarantine. That's really what it is.
saving money. I spend so much money on groceries and online Amazon orders for shit that I don't need.
Facts.
So we done with the quarantine spending over here. Okay, so let's jump into it.
Let's get into it.
Okay, so first let's talk about a recap real quick. So from last season, we saw Issa going from being on Daniel's couch to having her own little spot and meeting Nathan. Oh, okay, face. Yes, pause. So I was trying to figure out if you was gonna like get dressed up and get cute. I wasn't sure. And I haven't done makeup in maybe 30 plus days. So what is a makeup routine at this point?
I have no clue. I don't explore that.
That's a little bit of something. Okay.
You look good,
So
sis.
also last season, okay, I didn't expect to see the friend Andrew, Nathan's friend. I don't exactly remember what happened at the end of the season.
Into the new season?
Yes. See, I don't exactly remember what happened last season with her and him, where they ended up, but I didn't expect to see him, and I definitely didn't expect to see him so soon. So
well, it was definitely expected, to be honest with you, because me and Cortland, Cortland and I, I'm slurring on the liquor. I already got to me. So Cortland and I did a recap of last season a week ago. And so we kind of like wanted to catch up and, figure out where it's going to end and where it's going to start. And so with Molly and Andrew, she actually apologized to him.
Okay.
And so it did
Molly
end
gave
with
him the runaround back in season 3. I do remember that.
She did. But she did eventually apologize to him, where they made amends. So it was kind of expected that they were going to go into the second season. The fourth season. I'm sorry.
That part I definitely missed. And so we really weren't surprised to see Condola and Lawrence together again, because they had that great date at the end of season 3.
Yeah.
So we're all caught up, I think, with and Tiffany's transition, and Kelly's just Kelly. So
Kelly is hilarious. Everybody needs a Kelly in their life, right?
Right. Kelly's gonna be Kelly. So, opening scene. Issa's on the phone. We don't know who she's on the phone with, but we hear her say, like, I don't fuck with Molly no more. To which I'm immediately like, where is this going? Already.
Right.
And so we already have a new TV show, because they have like a TV show that they're watching.
Right.
Latoya.
Right.
Which I love already.
I love the little ghetto ratchet.
Right. Terry Vaughn was Levita in, what was it? The Steve Harvey Show?
I can't remember, but somebody help us.
I think so. Yeah, right. I think that's what she was. Levita Alice A. Jenkins, right?
Facts.
Yes.
That's her.
Facts. So, I'm wondering at this point who she's on the phone
Thanks,
with.
Miles.
Yes.
Miles said
yes. Okay. Thank y'all. So I want to know who Issa's on the phone with. Just me personally, talking about Molly. But next scene, so they are enjoying a self-care Sunday, and they said this was 4 months before the mixer or 4 months before the big showcase. I don't remember.
It was 4 months prior to the mixer.
Okay. So they are doing yoga. Introduce our best friend Molly. Roll it up. Listen to some good music.
To be honest, I was like, I'm with that shit. That was the whole vibe.
Yeah, it was a vibe. It was a real self-care vibe. Just roll up, listen to some good music, do some yoga with your bestie.
And do some yoga.
Bae, I'm here for it.
Bae, whichever, yeah.
And so, okay, so this is what I noticed during that scene, is that Issa seemed really like all about good energy. Cause she mentioned, I ain't got no man, I ain't got no job, but like,
but everything is still all good, right?
We still good. And I'm wondering, I guess during that scene, my thing with Molly was, is Molly gonna be back up to her old tricks? Which we already see she is. Like, she's already being ridiculous. But my question for you was, have you ever enjoyed like a good self-care day? And what does that look like?
A self-care day. Man, absolutely. Usually my self-care days look like drinking.
Come on.
Absolutely not thinking about work or anybody else, but just really focusing on me. A lot of meditation, man. I do get into that. I love meditating. I love just being at peace with myself, and so just kind of finding that center. And so those are my self-care days. So for sure.
I really want to get into meditation. I don't do so well 20. With like being still and being quiet, but I want to get into
it. You got some babies too, so I don't think they're going to.
So when, Jermaine? How? Okay. So, but I really do like the energy and the space that Issa was in that scene. We see that Issa's doing really good. Because I will say last season, I didn't necessarily know how we were going to come back to Issa. Because
not even Issa, Molly.
Right, yeah, true. Because didn't it kind of, the last episode kind of blew up with
the whole Nathan thing.
Right. So to see Molly like episode 1 and we're like hanging out, things are good. I guess did they have a conversation? What did that conversation look like? I guess I didn't expect to see Issa so quick.
I guess it was left to assume that the conversation was had and they mended, which is okay, cool, understandable because they're friends.
Right.
But I also, coming into season 4, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, well, you know what? Maybe these are strikes against Molly too, considering the end of the beginning of the episode 1 of season 4, but also what happened or what transpired at the end of episode 1 of season 4. Because and so
I agree with that, because I think sometimes maybe in friendships, like they're delicate, maybe not delicate situations, but just things. Hi, cousin. Oh, I miss you too. But so there are like things that happen that like maybe you don't want to rock the boat, so you don't address. But then like one thing happens, and then like another thing happens, and then another thing happens. And that kind of feels like maybe that's what's happening with Issa and Molly.
For sure.
So I am wondering how much time has passed between, I guess, last season where we ended there and where we pick up here, considering the whole Nathan thing. I do wonder kind of timing wise where we are on that. But so we pick up with lunch with Condola. We introduce Condola. Okay, do you watch BET's 20s?
Yes, I do. Actually, she's like one of the main characters. It's really good. I love it. It's so one of my favorites.
Good.
Yeah.
About a month. Okay. Hey, DeAndre.
Right, DeAndre. What's up, boy?
So the time that has passed. Okay, come on. That's enough time to be annoyed with your friend and not really say nothing.
Absolutely.
Like, and then have another situation happen that's really got you thinking. Okay. So that I wanted to name her. Christina Elmore is who's playing Condola, who's also in her 20s. So if you have BET, it comes on Wednesday, somewhere in that Wednesday lineup, because I don't watch the others. I do not watch that other shit.
Let's be real about it.
I wouldn't say you're wrong. 20s is good. But so they're talking about this mixer, and they're vibing really well. Like it's cute. They feel like friends. Like I know they're working together, and she's helping her, but they really did feel like friends to me.
Yeah.
And I guess kind of jumping ahead, knowing what you know about who Condola is.
Yes.
Considering like this is the beginning of us seeing them work together, what did you think of this scene?
Considering
what we know about Condola. Or maybe not considering what you know about Condola. What you think about just her and Issa's energy? Because it's
I think that was a valid question. I just needed to understand it. Knowing what we know about Condola, I think she was just upright genuine from the jump with Issa. I think that she wanted to look out for her sister, you know, even though she didn't know it, she met her through, you know,
right.
I think they initially met at the movie screening, I want to say, and then they met again at the baby shower.
Right.
And so I think genuinely she had like this not necessarily attraction, but this genuine approach into their friendship.
Yeah.
Or what to be their start of a friendship and working relationship. And so I just think that she was pretty much going to be a solid friend from the jump. I think this whole Lawrence thing kind of threw a monkey around.
So I didn't necessarily expect them to be like vibing that hard. Really, because like Issa has an established friend group, and it's not like I take their friend group as like no new friends, and I definitely don't take Issa as that. I guess just for storyline purposes, they're gonna play up the friendship, but I didn't necessarily see them, you know, kind of coming together and being.
Thanks, Jessica. Jessica corrected me. They met at the shower first. Thanks, okay. Jessica.
And then followed up at the other place. So we then go to Molly and Andrew. They're bowling, and they're kind of doing like this banter with each other. What did he say? Like, if he strikes, you know, she'll give him a kiss. To which she gave it to him anyways. So clearly,
she was feeling him.
She's feeling him. She likes him, but it's also Molly. So we know. We know that
with a lot of mess.
Real stupid.
Yeah.
And when this, just because, oh yes, thank you, Jessica. Oh, Molly's
what'd she say?
Big,
it was kind of slippy. It was kind of pulling one of these.
I wouldn't want to be like that. I hated that wig. I hate it. Yes, Molly is definitely the mean friend.
I don't think she's mean. I think she's inconsiderate. I think she's selfish.
Very selfish. Self-centered. Well, I mean, that is selfish, but
yeah.
And it's like, I think what's difficult maybe for Issa to see that in Molly, I think number one, because they've been friends for such a long time, so that can make it difficult to kind of where's Molly's therapist, Miles? Like, that's who I wanted to see Molly sitting down with episode 1. Okay? Damn, Andrew. Molly needs to sit down with that therapist. Because clearly she's still.
Because she's just moving from one dude to the next guy and she's not really doing that self work. She hadn't had time to do that at all. If you think about it.
Well, okay, so considering Molly's time,
not trying to make it sound like a hoe or anything, but
we did get a peek into, I guess, kind of how Molly's been spending her time when they were having their self-care day. Because she mentioned something about working hard at the firm or having a hard time or something.
Not over Dro.
She's damn sure not over Dro.
She's not.
But okay, so if she's trying to fill some sort of void, what is it? Like,
yeah, because she's dealing with career. She has both parents, so I don't know. Ain't no mom or daddy issues going on there. So what really?
And like really, at this point, Molly, yes, she does. Well, and I think because Molly's love life was in such a crazy place, I think she just needed to stay at the firm that she was at. Because let me tell you, like, trying to get your love life in order. At the same time, you're trying to work hard on your career. At the same time, you're trying to be a bad bitch. At the same time, you're trying to keep your weave tight. At the same time, you like it's a lot of work.
Or from slipping.
It's a lot of work. So clearly, Molly has been spending her time.
That is true.
With the boys and at work, and not with her therapist.
So let's talk about it. Jessica made a good point. She didn't know that at first though, Jessica, about her dad cheating.
Oh, okay.
The cheating allegations. Boy, did you slur?
Who cheated?
Her dad.
Molly's dad.
Molly's dad, yeah. But she found out.
Oh, that was Molly's parents, not Issa's parents.
Yeah, that was Molly's parents. But she didn't find that out until the wedding renewal or vow renewal. So
she wants someone to be doing worse than her to make her. I kind of agree.
I'm conflicted with that. I don't think that she wants someone to. I think she's that friend that's used to doing better. That she doesn't understand that how she come across to her friends is being an asshole or what is it called? Condescending, or like she's like better. So I don't think she actually is like one of those friends that consciously thinks she's better than her friends, but I think she like walks in her own own drum, to the beat of her own drum for sure. And she's not really aware of her friends and how she comes across to them. She can be very insensitive.
But her friends have something to say about the guys that are best for her. Okay, but let me ask this. What was it about Dro? Since we're having the Molly and Dro conversation, like, was it that Dro was like available but not like, and it's just Molly's complicated way of like thinking she has something that she wants? Like, why Dro? Why is she not over Dro? I mean,
but you gotta think about their relationship too. They were
just that
friends.
He was a great friend?
But they grew up together. That's a yeah. Sure.
I mean, because they're married.
I think they honestly, I think
says misconnections. Okay.
But
like but when he come back and he married, they like, you just why did they even do that?
I think Dro is the one that got away from Molly.
Right, which is what DeAndre is saying. That
I think he's the one that got away.
But girl, he's married, so go back to your therapist and move on.
Yeah. So let's talk while we're still on this subject of Molly, because I wanted to kind of ask you about this, and it was one of those pivotal points in the conversation, where in the episode where there was Andrew and Molly both driving in the car, and she finds out he's dating other people. So let's talk to, is there a such thing of a casual dating in this day and age? I see your eyes.
Because not to say that Molly should have, okay, no, it is to say, like, to me, if we have not had, because communication it should make things clear.
Facts.
You state what, because Molly does that. Like, every time she came across the screen, I was just like, here we go, girl. But so I think that you have to have a conversation to establish where you are.
Facts.
Yes, we're single until we're official, right?
Facts.
And so the only annoyance that I had with Molly was she had to be like a typical, I guess, like emotional person. I won't even say woman. Emotional person, and responds emotionally, and like really ruined what could have been a good evening at the mixer with Andrew, instead of just stating what she wanted.
Being in the moment. Yeah, absolutely. Just being in the moment and being, because she obviously is a alpha woman. She's an alpha. I think she's an alpha woman. I think she's very type A. She knows, in some ways, she knows what she wants. No, you disagree? Okay. Tell me what's up.
Molly's a bird, okay? Molly's a whole ass bird with a college with a Juris Doctorate, and so we want to be honest with her. Molly's a bird.
No? Okay. Okay.
She needs therapy and a mentor.
Please go deeper.
Does somebody in the comments disagree with me? Okay. The vote is she's a bird.
But she definitely doesn't know what she wants. I mean, I guess when you look at it in hindsight, she definitely doesn't know what she wants, because if you look at her career, she doesn't know what she wants in a fucking career, because she thinks she wants to be around Black folks where she feels like she's going to be accepted and valued, but she comes into this Black space and was like, well, at my old firm, we did this. At my old firm, we did that.
Right.
And so, like, it took for Issa to kind of like, hey, yo, like, why don't you just appreciate what you got in that space and work through that instead of complaining about it. And so it's interesting with this whole Andrew thing, to be honest with you, because I believe in, you can date I think casually dating is a thing. It's real. As long as there is communication happening.
Okay, so listen, so let me tell you a story. So me and Brandon are dating. We're casually dating, right? And he goes, I think, like maybe to the club or something.
Uh-huh. Okay,
so he comes back. He spends the night at my house that night, and it's like maybe, I guess maybe got there maybe 2 or 3. It's maybe 4 or 5. As his phone is just like blowing up, like really blowing up.
Okay.
So then after the phone calls, then a real cute text message comes through that made it very clear like what this person wanted, right? And so I go right back to bed. I'm good. And then the next morning, like, we have a conversation, because whatever we were doing, and as fun as it was, and it was casual and it was great, and you're talking to people, I'm talking to people, I now know that I want this to be exclusive, and I don't want to talk to anybody else, and I don't want you to talk to anybody else, and it's now time to have that conversation. So I think we're, not to say that I did it right, but I think we're Ashley. He's gonna go back and watch this and be friends.
It's already, Big Bro already put the ring on it, so it doesn't even matter.
So it
doesn't even matter.
She's white. So, no, but I think where Molly messed up was she got in her feelings instead of processing what happened and then making a decision about what she wanted.
Yeah.
Because then she got all weird with them in the car. Then they get there and he says something to the effect of like, "Where you gonna be at?" And she's like, "You'll find me." No, I won't. I'm not looking for you.
I don't know what that was about.
I asked where you gonna be. Stop.
Then she's like, "Look at this nigga looking for me." Look at this nigga looking for me. She's like,
yeah, bro, because you his
and he just paid for these damn drinks.
I hate Molly.
She's probably like one of my least favorites. But to speak to that like casual dating piece, like I'm all about the casual dating. Even like before, my girl and I, made it official, like not necessarily with her, but prior to I casually date, and I was casually dating. I was, being upfront and honest, and wasn't like doing the most, wasn't no physical. It was just, conversation, getting to know people. And I think that is so important. And to that piece, because otherwise it can get really messy. We all know that if you dipping in this one and dipping in that one and ain't, sharing what you're doing, it can get real.
But also,
bad.
like, how is Molly in her 30s and not just okay with casually dating, and not just okay with stating her expectations? Like,
because yeah,
because she need a mentor and some therapy. Next,
some therapy. Facts.
Next. So what I thought when we cut away, because typical Molly,
yeah,
I don't know why she uses the sex thing the way she does, but so when Molly and Andrew are bowling, I expect to cut to a sex scene of Molly and Andrew, and it's Issa and TSA Bay.
That threw me off. I think that threw us all off.
This is cute.
I was like, the fat boy in me was like, go.
Got somebody to, big you up at your events, bring you Hennessy, and put it down.
And get you the security at the airport.
A full-size nigga. Sounds like a win.
That's hilarious.
To me.
Yeah, they kind of, I think that took us all by surprise. And I think with that whole situation, it can look a little messy for Issa, but I think she's just, honestly, I think she's just having fun.
Issa seems like she got it in control.
Yeah, more than Molly does, for sure.
Like, Issa looked like she got it handled. So I was kind of thinking that, like, who was this random guy that Issa is, like, getting it in with? And this is somebody who has apparently, this has happened a couple times. Because Molly, like, oh, so we bringing him out now. And I was like, how long has TSA been bringing you Hennessy and putting it down?
Yeah.
Issa, talk to us. So I wonder if this is like a little friends with benefits situation.
We haven't gotten to the fake Tiffany thing. We gonna get there now. Oh, you gonna just jump to it?
Let's go there, because really the only thing in between there is Issa and Molly shopping. To which Molly takes clothes back that she's already worn.
Yeah.
And
that shit was weird, but
I mean,
you gotta do what you gotta do.
After the corona, no more returning clothes that you already worn.
It is not okay.
That's not happening
for anyone.
Don't be a bird and do that. Don't do that. It's too serious out here for that shit. Okay, so Tiffany, Condola and Issa are meeting, doing some, I guess they're kind of talking about, Issa's going over, how to persuade people with her pitch. And I think Issa is so cute when she's vulnerable. When she asks Condola, like, well, what would you say is special about me? I think it takes a really, like, either vulnerable or awkward, but she's awkward.
Absolutely.
To, like, just kind of ask that question. So I thought that was cute. Anyways.
I can relate to her awkwardness. I'm a very awkward person. Everybody pretty much know that. I'm sure somebody's going to like, hell yeah, you are in the comments. So I can relate to that. I think it's a beautiful thing for her. It makes her seem down to earth and genuine, and I love that. I think that's what brings people to her. She attracts people with her awkwardness.
I agree, Jessica. It's damn near endearing. It is. It makes her very relatable. I'll say. So Tiffany enters, and after, some cute compliments between Issa and Condola, we realize that her baby shower was the link between everybody. Issa meeting Condola, but also Condola meeting Lawrence. And
the roses started to smell like shit. Boy,
Issa immediately looks pressed. Like, if her eyes were communicating, like, bitch, how'd you fail to mention this? So she kind of tried to, like, clean it up by saying it was one date that didn't seem to go well, and she didn't think it wasn't going to go anywhere. So why would she say something?
I think that was an assumption.
Oh, absolutely. So my question for you is, should Tiffany have said something?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, pause. Listen. This is not an excuse at all. This is not to excuse Tiffany from her behavior.
Okay.
But like, when you be pregnant, you know,
baby brain
like
is what you call it.
Happening in your life,
baby brain.
You know, and you need to share some semi-important information
And forget about it.
It's possible for it to slip your mind.
Somebody was like, absolutely.
Right. Misha, you know.
Yeah.
It's possible for it to slip your mind.
Okay.
Even 15 months post-birth. Okay?
How? But she didn't use that excuse, though. She just went into that typical Tiffany. It was like, well, started pulling out her wig and shit. Finding that excuse within that wig and, you know, try to find her way out of it. And, you know, I think she knew. I think she should have said something to Issa as her friend. But that also speaks to how close they really are to me.
Okay, so I agree, which I think can happen. What did you say, Tiffany?
Typical Tiffany. Dancing around. Hell yeah, she stayed dancing around shit.
But I mean.
But just a warning, like, hey, homegirl at the, you know, baby shower. Her and Lawrence are going on this date.
How would that conversation, tell me this, how would that conversation have looked? Tiffany tells me, I'm Issa. Tiffany tells me, you know, oh, so you know my homegirl Condola that was at the baby shower. Condola? Who is Condola? Right? Because it's Condola.
Yeah.
And she's like, well, it was this girl and she went on a date with Lawrence and I don't really think it went anywhere, but just wanted you to know. I
think that's fair.
It's
I think that's a fair ass conversation.
So if I'm Tiffany, Issa better be like, not even she better be like.
Because that would have allowed Issa opportunity to kind of gauge the partnership and relationship she had with Condola from the jump, if she wanted to move forward in that space. And so now she's already in it. And it's now awkward between the two of them because neither one of them knew of each other. And so if Tiffany was that piece of the puzzle that, like, hey, just a heads up,
could have made it easy for everybody.
Because honestly, it was messy on both parts. If you think about it, she's friends with Condola and she's friends with Issa. She didn't say shit to neither one. Period.
Tiffany needs hands and feet.
Oh, damn. Can she wait till she has the baby?
As soon as she dropped that baby.
Right. Damn, Chris.
Okay, I agree. Because it did get messy because she knew both parties. So it was like double the mess.
Right.
When it just didn't have to be that messy.
It didn't have to be that. It didn't have to. At all.
Not that messy. Okay, so let me ask this question, kind of jumping ahead to the end, since we can all agree that this is just mess all the way around. Molly kind of comes at Issa at the end, like, you know, I really think you like this messy shit in your life, girl. Ooh. You know, why you keeping this going?
You're one to talk, bruh. Bruh.
Molly.
I think that was strike 2 for Issa. To be honest, it may have been 4 or 5.
My question is, do you think there's some validity in what she said?
Absolutely not.
Okay, why?
I think it goes back to what we were saying earlier. It was, you know, I think Molly is so conditioned to the point where she is that friend who thinks she has it all together in some ways, or she's that support for all of her friends that she can get unsolicited advice. And I think that was unsolicited. I think it was unwarranted. I think she took a moment from Issa where it should have been glorified. Instead, she was like, although you did good in your little thing. She's like one of those friends that be like, yeah, I saw you doing your thing with that you had that little event. She wasn't one. She's
well,
one of those.
So
little,
I mean, we're really back to
little,
Molly being a terrible friend because if you remember, as soon as Molly comes to the event, he's just like, "Oh, hey, girl, you here?" And she's like ready to jump into the Andrew shit. And it's like, girl, this isn't even really a problem. This sounds ridiculous. And he's just like, "Girl, you got it. Like, you got it."
Right.
I'm busy. Like, sponsors, money. People need me.
Right. She's self-absorbed.
Hey, Chuck.
Everything was about her. Everything was about her for sure. Even like you said, even at that point where she was like, "Oh, Andrew is doing this." Like, girl, you say you got it. Get it. Do your thing. This is what you do.
Right.
Go do your thing. And so I think that she takes those moments away from Issa every time for her to handle it herself. And I just think that it was a poor judgment call.
But like we're tired, Molly, girl. We've had enough. We've had enough of your poor judgment calls.
Yeah.
So so people are saying that basically Molly, there was something I wanted to respond to that Nishan said. So Molly, Issa picking basically business over the kind of the potential, I guess, mess of the situation. So I guess what I'm wondering moving forward with the season is Issa choosing business, or is Issa also like low-key choosing a new homegirl? And does Molly see something or know something that we don't, since she's Issa's best friend? Does she see that Molly's, that Issa's really into this girl and they're having a good time and she's concerned about them building a friendship? Does she see that Issa's really playing like she's over Lawrence, but not really? Like, because I do agree, Molly is an old hating ass friend who, when she's in her mess and in the thick of whatever she has going on, it's difficult for her to like be happy and give good advice and make good judgment calls. But does she know more about Issa than because they talked about accountability? Does she know more about Issa than Issa's willing to be honest about herself and where she is with the whole Lawrence thing? Because it's easy, this is what I will say, it's easy to be over your ex and appear over your ex when you got this cute little fun, oh, hey, Day.
Yeah.
It's easy to be over him when you got this cute fun, light-skinned guy with black eyes from Houston who's occupying your time. But then when he's gone.
But it was hella convenient for her to intervene in that. It was like, Elliot, hey, she don't want to see you. But let that have been Dro and Issa, that would have been a whole little situation. Hello? So I think she just finds it very convenient to kind of to interject herself into situations where she really hadn't discussed it with Issa and what her position was. She just takes matters into her own hands, and that's the fucked up thing about it.
True. Well, and she does it with such authority, as if she has a great track record.
Like she knows where. Like I know what you want, and I know what you need.
And her therapist weekly. And we know she don't. So, okay. So,
her therapist be... Go ahead.
So, Issa and Lawrence. Oh, well, no, not Issa and Lawrence. Lawrence and Condola. You're Lawrence. You find out that your new bae is working with the ex. And not even just an ex of 5 years that I lived with. Stir it up. All the fucking Dineva fans, stir it up, bitch.
I don't know what the hell that is.
What? Oh, you two. Get into it. But what would you do? How would you have handled the situation at his apartment the first night where she came over and they were supposed to chill, have a little Netflix and chill situation? How would you have gone about it if you were?
Very interesting enough. I am that Lawrence. I can identify with Lawrence's character a lot.
Okay.
In so many ways.
So in what ways, considering this situation?
Oh, so in that particular situation, I think that he like it took a moment for him to be real with himself, and he was like, "Yo, like hell, go ahead."
I just realized
Who's Corolla? Who's Corolla? Crayola. Who is Crayola?
Because I kept seeing that, like, what?
Condola, not Crayola.
Okay, okay.
She a fool. But I think he eventually came to his senses where it was like, you know what? Let me not be spiteful in this situation, because at the end of the day, Issa is still to me, whether that's a friendship or whatever, there's still history there. And so I don't want to see her fall, or fail. And so I think it was a very mature thing for him to be like, hey, you know what? Neither one of you knew of each other. And I think that's safe to play with. And so I think you should continue to support her. And I thought that was commendable for him. Because that's something I would have done.
Question for the comments. If you are Condola, do you keep talking to him?
Ooh.
I'm going to get my man.
Britt,
if we have a genuine connection and, he's doing all the things that you need him to do.
But let me stir up the pot a little bit. So we spoke briefly earlier today, and you kind of know what my position is with this. Like, I think Crayola. Shout out to Jessica. I think although she was like blindsided by the situation, which they all were, which is fair, but a piece of me felt like there was something shady about her after the block party. Not necessarily, wasn't a block party, but the sponsored party that they had. I felt like it was something shady about that situation when she showed up to Lawrence's house.
Shady in what way? Hey, will you bring me a charger? Shady in what way? With the big block.
So
let me tell you how I kind of read it. So
somebody said they agree.
I was asking about, do you get your man or decide that you're too cool with this new girl if you're gonna pass them. The folks said they get their man, so
true.
We clearly agree with that decision.
Okay.
But I think she was, at least how I read the scene, Lawrence is like, well, she needs you right now. And there was a point in that block party where it was looking real bad. Like
it was really it was a struggle bus.
The Kaya record. The tenant
she was in there cold switching like a motherfucker.
The tenant is making requests, and the shit is finna get out of hand. And Condola kind of looks like this is a mess. Like, oh my God, what have I gotten into for real? And then after she kind of hears Issa, and I think everybody in the room obviously kind of heard Issa's heart about why she wanted to do this. I think Condola felt like, well, she's good.
What's up,
BT? So I'm gonna get my man.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah.
And I think somebody said, I don't remember who it was, like it was genuine from, I think the connection between Condola and Lawrence was genuine. The connection between Condola and Issa was genuine. And so the only messy party is Tiffany's ass.
Wait, I have to point out what Chill said. He said, I think she finally made a decision and she needed her cheeks clapped.
Or that.
That part.
Because we know how Lawrence gets down. We already know what Lawrence is doing. So, Consola, you better get
That's
your man.
hilarious. That's hilarious.
That's a good man, Savannah. Okay?
That's true.
So, yes. So, okay, that's how I think we each would have done that.
Yeah.
Now, do you think Lawrence is over Issa?
I mean, 5 years is a long time to just be over somebody, to be honest with you. I think there's still pieces there that you have to work on and work through. And it takes a while. Obviously, it takes a lot of self-work.
Right.
And then, you know, someone else to kind of fill that space. But that work with yourself has to come first. You can't just put someone in that position and think all that shit just goes away. Because it doesn't. And so
everybody says no. I'm surprised.
Really? I think he's not. No feelings there?
I agree with you. No, but he wants to be. And I think as opposed to Issa, who's just kind of like out here doing whatever and whatever.
My nigga.
But he was, but he chime in, bro. Chime in, bro.
With the video,
chime in.
Cause he didn't have no
Chime in, G.
Here he go.
Hey, listen,
bro, why you think I got this?
this?
Why you think I got this hot ass stocking cap? Nigga,
My nigga Lawrence
it's
is
wild on us.
genuinely happy. If y'all think he still got feelings for Issa, y'all fucking crazy. My nigga is.
How you know he's genuinely
He's out here
happy?
smashing.
That don't mean you happy.
Having date
That's
nights.
destructive.
That don't
That's
mean you
destructive.
With popcorn.
That's
He ain't
destructive.
thinking about her. Even when it was like, you know, I might be working with your ex. My nigga's first walk was like, ex? What ex? He ain't even think about Issa. He ain't thinking about her.
I think that's the common
Like I
response
said,
You might be right.
for any nigga. For any nigga, I would have been like, what ex? Like, knowing in the back of my motherfucking mind, 5 motherfuckers went through my head. So I don't think that's a fair statement.
Let's see. I agree. He's smashing to act. He's smashing and he's doing all this, I think, in an effort to really try to get over Issa.
I think that's what it is too. From a guy's point of view, we tend to do shit like that to get over people. And that doesn't work. Like I said earlier, you have to do that self-work prior to going into a new relationship. And he hadn't done any work in that space.
Right.
At all. If you're smashing people and just like going through it, you ain't doing that work.
Right.
And so I think it's
we
just
agree.
distractions. It's all distractions. It's destructive.
Yes.
You point into the universe negative
this.
energy.
What does it count for? Like VNA and Chill says, like he wants to be. He's trying to be. Does that count for anything? Like,
absolutely.
Because I also wonder, like, or maybe let me pose this question: if you're not over somebody,
niggas be trying to convince themselves. All right, Frenchie.
if you're not over somebody and they're available, is Lawrence legitimately just not putting himself back out there with Issa because she cheated? And is that right?
Repeat that.
If we think that Lawrence really still has feelings for Issa, and he is doing things, trying to get over her, but still, you know, the feelings are there.
Yeah.
Do you think that he's just not putting himself back out there for Issa again because of how it ended, because she cheated? And is that right?
I think that's a fair statement to make. I think that's something safe to assume for Lawrence's position. Like, he was the one. And so my lady say this all the time. She say that men are, what is it? I'm going to quote somebody and forget. I guess we're more, what is it? We're selfish, and women are more,
nurture, giving.
I guess nurture, Corlin. What the hell you say all the time? I forgot. Shit. But to the point that she was saying that we are like selfish beings naturally, and women are mostly to the point like they're always the sacrificial. That's what it is.
Okay, so Chill says sometimes you have feelings, love for someone who is toxic for you. But what is a toxic?
What does that look like? Chill.
I want to pose the question. What's Issa toxic? Because I thought it was real cute that he found some time to send Crayola some flowers and all of that. And Issa couldn't even get nothing for her motherfucking birthday.
They do got our wheels turning. That's facts, Frenchie. But I don't know if I would consider their relationship toxic. I think that's a stretch. I think they went through a turbulent situation, as all relationships do. But I think how she handled it wasn't the best.
Okay.
Is that fair? Is that a fair statement?
But okay, so this is one of the things that I don't understand about.
That couch not working. Shut your ass.
He was.
On that couch not working.
And like clearly she stayed with him, so she know you're not working. But like, really, my birthday, I can't even. Yeah.
I think there was a expectation there. After 5 years, I think women have an expectation for sure. Stability is expected. Those type of things are expected of a woman in 5 years for sure. And so I think that's kind of where Issa was in that space. I think she allowed him. Go ahead.
But I think this is what I don't quite understand about Issa is why does Issa still, let me pose the question. Why does Issa still have feelings for Lawrence? Because prior to the whole cheating situation, like, in my opinion, it wasn't even that Daniel was just doing way better than Lawrence. Because, like, Daniel's like a producer out here trying to get it. Like, I don't know about no day job. So it's not like he was just doing so much better.
He was a temporary fix.
Than Lawrence. Oh, okay. So... But it seemed like to me prior to that, she was kind of over it and she was good. So then like you cheat and it's over, like, girl, you got out of it. Why
I think someone made a statement that men tend to try to be over shit, but I think women do the same thing in some ways. I think we all play this game of like cat and mouse with each other. And that we really don't know what we want, but we trying to figure this shit out. I stood on the couch for too long and you cheat on me. No, it wasn't right. But who knows how long he was actually sitting on this couch? They never said how long he was. They were living together. They've been some assholes. They were living together.
Oh, okay. Because I was like,
they were living together.
Sleeping on her couch.
They bought that couch together.
He wasn't just a jump off. I don't think she ever wanted to cheat.
She loves Lawrence. Yeah.
So like,
I don't think she ever wanted to cheat, but she wanted to cheat. because cheating is a choice. It's an absolute choice, right?
Like, how you didn't want to
you make the decision to go and cheat, right?
Right. So. She wanted to. I mean, it wasn't right, but I do kind of question, just considering everything. I think it's difficult to let go of friendships or relationships, and maybe we'll get to see what happens with Molly and Issa, but I mean, of course, we know that, like, just time in relationships make it difficult to let go of. Mm-hmm. But I truly got the feeling that Issa was over him, and we've been here for this long and it doesn't really seem like we're going anywhere. And I think because of where Issa was in her life, she was comfortable with like just kind of being there. Because think about We Got Y'all. She was doing the same thing, like just kind of sitting around at that job, not really making any moves towards
just because she had a job, she wasn't happy in her shit.
Yeah. So
we also have to look at that shit. That, you know, we have two people functioning in this space of unhappiness.
Okay, that's true.
Like,
And that if they were in different, like if Lawrence was where Lawrence is now and Issa was where Issa is now, they may have had a different relationship.
Absolutely. I agree.
That's fair to say. That's fair to say. Okay. Anything we missed or any questions from the folks?
Yeah.
Or
for sure.
Yo,
this was
I will
fun.
say
I like
what I'm really, really enjoying is the conflict.
Oh, y'all good. Unpack this shit.
They both had life altering experience, being homeless, STDs.
Ooh. Speak on it, Chris.
If they were to try again, they could work.
I think so. But I don't think it's gonna happen. I don't think the story would allow it to happen that way. I think that's all right, Britt. Sorry.
Okay, so
sorry, you guys. We lost you. It only gave us an hour.
So I forgot that you can only be live for like an hour or something like that.
Okay,
that makes sense. But okay, so we were closing. I don't remember where we were, but no, that's what I was saying. Okay. I really am enjoying the conflict between Issa and Molly.
Okay.
Particularly because I am a fanatic of Girlfriends. And for one, we never really got to see how that conflict kind of ended or how they resolved it between Joan and Tony. But I think, and I don't think it's a bad thing, and I think it's an honest thing, but people talk a lot about like your friend groups and your friend circles and
for sure.
You know, groups of Black women, and it's so great, it's so awesome, but nobody really talks about what it looks like when it's in conflict and how to repair that and how to salvage that. And so I'm really going to enjoy this piece of the storyline, just seeing two friends kind of go through it. And I guess kind of get my Tony, Joan kind of girlfriends fix, not really seeing their conflict be resolved, I guess. So that, I think that part of the storyline, I in particular am really looking forward to, and I'm really, really enjoying.
I guess I'm just here for the ride, to be honest with you, because I think everyone can see a piece of themselves in this. To be honest, in whatever, whether it's, you know, women relationship, guy relationship, I think we can all see ourselves in some character, and I think they do a very good job at portraying that and making it real and authentic for to real life experiences.
Yeah,
you feel me? And so I'm just kind of like here for the ride and trying to figure out what's gonna happen next. There's nothing in particular that I'm really.
What do you think will happen next? So you can answer that.
I can't answer. Yeah. So, so I'm gonna speak to the piece where Issa's on the phone with who knows who. I don't think we're gonna find that out until the end of the season, to be honest with you. I think there's gonna be some shit that leads up into this whole, like, I'm not fucking with this bitch anymore. Excuse my words.
I see a big, just the way, I mean, because friends are very expressive with each other. Issa's a very expressive person with Molly. I see like a huge blow up. Like, I don't know if it's gonna be an event or something that happens that blows up, or if it's something small that happens. Because like we said, I think at this point things have kind of been piling on, and Issa's just like consistently being annoyed by her. So I don't necessarily think it's gonna be some big, huge, significant event, but it's gonna be like one thing that's gonna set Issa off, and we're gonna see that explosion. And you know, what I do wonder if we'll see the resolution of that by the time season 4 is over. And that I don't necessarily, I mean, I would assume we would, because they introduced that conflict episode 1. And so it gives you the feeling that that's what this entire season is going to be about. But I'm a Girlfriends fan, and
but it almost like it leads you to believe, like, is this their way of trying to get rid of Molly? Like cut her
Oh, I
character.
mean, if we're getting in terms of characters, if
Are
we're
they
losing
cut her
anybody,
character?
the Dubois can go. Like Tiffany, get her messy ass out of here. We getting rid of anybody. So I don't necessarily think that, but I do. Obviously, that's going to be one of the main points of storyline in the show this season.
Sure.
And I just wonder if we're going to get a resolution and wrap that up before the season is over. Because I again, being a girlfriend's fanatic, I know what that feels like, and I've seen a conflict be dragged out to the end of a season and then the show's canceled and you don't know how it is. So I wouldn't be surprised if the conflict wasn't resolved by the end of this season, and that's kind of where we pick up the next season from.
Have you ever had a situation like that?
Let me tell you about my life.
Let's dig into it.
So I have.
Look at Edward being real messy. Look at
I have.
I think we all have, yeah.
But so
I think we've all had that person who, you know, and I'm kind of like that guy who, in my friends, I think I can claim to be that friend who is checking on everyone. I'm that friend who listens to everybody's problems, but when it comes to my problems, no one's there to be found. I think that was me at one point in my life.
Okay.
Now I don't too much care, but I can see how the old Jermaine could have been in a space where he's like, you know what? Fuck this person, fuck this person, fuck this person, because all they do is take. And I'm continuing to pour, and nothing is being poured back into me. And so you find yourself in that shit where you're like, man, goddamn, you're exhausted at this point. You just fuck everything. Like, and I think Issa has come to that point with her friendship with Molly. And then you have this phenomenal ass woman who comes into your life as well that show you different how to really be a friend.
Yes.
And that shit trumps all
That's
that
exactly
other
what I
bullshit.
thought about with Crayola. I was like, really, Crayola couldn't have come in at a worse time for Molly.
At a worse time.
Where she's experiencing like just this consistent frustration with Molly. Condola's like giving her all the good friend vibes and like hyping her up and telling her why she's special and digging her clothes and like, you know, just really
supporting the fuck out of her.
But being, I guess, being fair to Molly, when you meet a new friend, a new guy, a new coworker, everybody cool.
Yeah.
They're the greatest friend, greatest boyfriend, greatest coworker ever. Until you realize she hired her brother as the damn DJ and got one of her crazy ass titties trying to play some fire. Like, you know, like all of those relationships be looking like the bomb until you really get into the thick of things. So, I mean, being fair to Molly, Issa's kind of annoying too. Just less annoying. Just way less annoying.
I think she just had that advantage about her because of, you know, I think a lot of people can relate to Issa's situation where they can, like, whereas they can relate to Molly's situation. I think, you know, I just think that Issa's situation is way more relatable for a lot of people, and that's why they cling to her the way they do.
For sure. So did you watch a preview for next week? I'm trying to think of. Oh, okay. So next week we know Molly's gonna continue seeing Andrew. So at the end of the night, she texts Andrew what she should have said in the car, which was,
shouldn't have said in the first place, right? Why do motherfuckers always gotta send through get cursed through text message? We gotta separate ourselves through this, like, from this text message shit. That shit ain't genuine. I don't want to receive a fucking text message saying, yo, you know what? I'm wrong. but I really like you. I don't want to get that motherfucking FaceTime a nigga. Call a nigga. Pull up on a nigga. I would rather have you.
You want to receive.
Yeah.
Well, and especially after you like really played me the whole night at this mixer because I was doing exactly what I should have been doing. Yeah, you could have called me.
Yeah, because nothing about a text message is genuine at all.
Well, I mean, so I guess DeAndre told us that it's been a month between kind of what we experienced last season and this season. I'm really trying to figure out how is Andrew even dealing with Molly. Like,
why is in this?
But apparently he's interested because he'll be back next week with her. And then
she's afraid of rejection. She just that's true.
Yes.
Very afraid of rejection. I think that is a thing for her. What are you thinking about?
But also, like Issa said, like, girl, he's here with you. He likes you. Like, just tell him. I mean,
be in the moment. Be in the fucking moment.
I guess it's always sometimes a rejection of no, because there is some rejection involved. I take that back.
I think we find it difficult sometimes when we're these type A people and want to be in control of everything that goes around us, where we can't just live in that moment. And I think she finds it very difficult for herself to live in that moment and just accept things as they are. And
but I don't think she had to live in the moment. Just like the situation that I told you about, like I wasn't living in the moment because I chose to read those text messages at 5 a.m. and be like, oh, some girl wants you to come get it. You know, let me go back to sleep. That didn't look like living in the moment. I very much took charge of the moment. It was like, hey, saw your phone while you were asleep, and it's time to have a conversation. Cause
my eyeballs get one.
Like I don't think she had to you know, just kind of live in the moment. If she wanted to be, you know, if she wanted to stop being a bird and put on her big girl panties, she could have told him in the car, like, oh, okay, well, that's cool. I mean, I do really like you, so, you know.
Yeah, we are like
what if we talked about being exclusive? Like, she could have thrown it out.
We should be having these real ass conversations.
She really could have like thrown it out there just to see. She didn't even have to be rejected by saying, let's just talk about, you know, what being exclusive looks like.
Mm-hmm.
And she could have seen if he was with it or not, and she could have backed out in a way that was much more graceful than telling him to catch an Uber because you was going to help your friend, but really all you was going to do was piss her off.
Piss off. Yeah. That's some bullshit.
So, well, he comes back. He's clearly interested because he's back next week. And Issa
we didn't even see the response. They left us on that. That nigga could have been like, fuck you, Molly.
He just hit her with them
fuck
3
you,
dots
Molly.
that look like you texted her.
No. Hit her ass with that. Okay.
Right. That's what Molly deserved. She deserves nothing more. And so I guess next episode we're also gonna see Issa and Condola Crayola continue their friendship and have some conversation about Lawrence. We don't know what the conversation will be, but he's clearly interested in what's been said, which I think is natural.
Right.
You want to know. I mean, if I take it back, it's not natural. If you're truly over an ex, I don't care. I don't care what he said.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't true. How about that?
Right. Yeah.
It ain't true.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it's interesting that he seems to be so interested in what was talked about, but I guess we'll see. We'll see what happens with that next.
We'll see you next Sunday.
But this was fun.
This was fun. I really appreciate you
and I got to
making this happen for your boy. I know, and we appreciate everybody for like adding to this conversation because that was important. So definitely looking forward to next week.
Thank you, Chill. We will be accepting questions.
Absolutely.
And y'all can come back for this beat. That's what y'all can come back for. The quarantine beat. We gotta be back next week at 8.
Sister looking good.
For the quarantine beat. I got it. quarantine skin is coming through though.
Yeah, you staying out of that pollution and all that other shit that's damaging your skin.
Quarantine
Yo,
skin
we
got
still
me out
dealing with snow and shit out here. It's cold in the motherfucker.
Like, does it ever stop snowing?
I don't know, but I'm ready to go. Hey, whoever live in Denver heard that shit.
Yes, so next week, 8:00, we'll be back and we'll make sure to keep it to an hour.
Absolutely.
Because Instagram won't let us live anyways. And
yeah, so maybe
my baby's hungry. My babies are
and if
waiting
you
for me to get this
if you don't follow me and you follow Brittany, absolutely follow me at that boy Esquire 2.0.
Yeah.
And
We'll see y'all next week.
so that if we go overtime, we have to jump on, the other person's live. So yeah, let's get to it.
We'll see y'all next week at 8.
Thank you guys.